The orbital is alive with the sounds and smells of cooking this week. Just Dinners, Delivery Womble, and Goes Under have all withdrawn their food delivery services to Hutton amid a storm of complaints about orders arriving late and cold. Hutton Emergency Broadcast has been showing old cookery programs and transmitting simple recipes for everyone to try cooking at home? Needless to say, the one credit pie and a pint bar has been closed down after a bout of womble crumped. McThargoys were doing a roaring trade but are out of stock now and have had to close until the delivery van arrives. Cecil has reverted to a liquid breakfast, liquid lunch, liquid dinner diet. Other truckers have headed off to Fat Ernie's to see if the all-you-can-eat buffet is still on. It isn't. Ernie said it was costing him a fortune. Mungo the hipster, he's the one who looks like an Edwardian cricketer, has been busy in his boutique store cutting action blankets into little squares, making them into micro sandwiches filled with something he claims is hummus, and punting them for 50 credits a go. People are desperate, but they're not stupid, so business has been slow. Space Leg Shoe Shop has begun taking the bottoms off their shoes and selling them as minute steak or Dover sole. Those have had better reviews than the micro sandwiches. Budget Clones for You thought they could cash in by cloning a lasagna, but now it's claiming it has rights and demanded a lawyer. At the appropriate time, Fanny Craddock is interrupted in the middle of her coq au vin just as she's patting her thighs with some kitchen paper. A voice says,
"Our mics are live."
Welcome to the show. I'm Sandy Crevice and I'm eating some chips and a polo mint I found down the back of the studio couch.
I'm Wilma Fingerdo and I'm following a recipe to make my own donuts. I really hope they turn out like Fanny's.
I'm Mia Harkness and I've turned to the old ways of the hunter-gatherer. Trumbull in a sick, anyone?
I'm Wanker and I can confirm that the sentient lasagna issue has been resolved.
I'm Atrus5060 and these chocolate nuggets are delicious.
I'm Norma Snox and I'm having a chippy tea. Well, chipboard anyway.
Ooh, give us a bit. I'm saving my polo mint for after the headlines. Neither 0.22 or 0.21, but now 0.14.
PF persuades Star to go easy on Haxwing.
Too hot, too messy, update week 27.
Oridakers in the Opus audio broadcasts.
Hot Pews doesn't beat around the bush.
The second longest Supercruise news.
Final voyage of the Gary Horgan. Galnet.
Here at Hutton, we're known for taking things far too far. Usually, a loop of shame past Hutton Orbital when we've been sampling the inbound indie bourbon on the way to swap it for a few tons of the Centauri Megagin. So, when reviewing the galaxy and all the very most silly places in it, places like Haghole or Bonkers, we occasionally stumble across something that just screams Hutton. Some of them are a little far away, like Beagle Point, which means the likelihood of Hutton actually expanding Galvin's influence there is somewhere between slim and not a chance. Only because there aren't any factions between Colonia and their mind. But some of them are a little closer, and, conversely, a little further from home. 36 Ophiuchi is one such place. For those not familiar with it, whilst Hutton Orbital is 0.22 light years from the jump point, we'll argue whether orbital mechanics means it's drifted a little closer some other evening. We've printed the mugs now and they say 0.22. There's one other place in the area that's quite far, not as far as Hutton, but far enough that people mention it. Before we go into the details on that one, there's something else that Hutton is known for. And not just because Aemelia stuck most of them in her mouth at one time or another. And that's rares. Hutton have fallen in love with these little things. The drinks, the joss sticks, the mugs. We have a passion for rare things, and it just so happens that Hutton isn't the only place in the galaxy that's really far away and has a rare. We've got the Centauri Megagin cupboard safe. The mugs, of course, are ours. Indie Bourbon is on sale to all the truckers. And of course, over in George's pants, the Banter prayer sticks are lit every time there's a bad smell from Cubicle 3, which needs to be covered up. Which is always. 36 Ophiuchi, as mentioned, ticks the rare box as well. Ophiuchi Xeno artifacts. They can't be eaten unless you've got really strong teeth, and as far as we can tell, even when dissolved, they're not alcoholic. But they are rare, and a very good salesperson, not unknown to Aemelia, did a grand job of persuading Alvin that he wanted one. In fact, he wanted all of them. So, since last summer, a crack team of Hutton truckers have been attempting to move Hutton's influence in such a way as Alvin has a second location for a really long walk. Not as far as Hutton, just in case his little legs are feeling a bit tired, and with some great things to look at, PR, sniff on, not necessarily in that order, in the local shop. And finally, this week, they've managed to get Hutton's name on the boards over there. The next mission? To fly the 0.14 light years to Katzenstein Dock and start boosting our influence. Oh, hang on, did somebody say cat? Oh dear.
If you wanted any more proof that behind-the-scenes communication is happening between the Pilots Federation and Tharg the Mighty, then look no further than the latest public information broadcasts on all channels from Shinrarta. It's big enough to send a conspiracy nut's head into a spin. Whilst we don't know that the PF determine, along with Universal Cartographics, whether Tharg the Mighty has actually claimed one or just sniffed at a particular system in just the right way to officially claim it as his, or hers, or theirs, there is quite clearly some kind of measuring system that means humanity cedes defeat or claims a mighty victory in certain systems. Okay, there might be spotters that are counting the number of Thargoids per square light year, or if they're merkin, not using the metric system, thuckers per bald eagle, and deciding that if a system is saturated enough, then we should bugger off out of it at high speed. But to date, if Haxwing and our allies don't do quite enough work, Tharg has been able to place a little flag on the system and say it's his, or switch off a station or a settlement and boot everyone out, or fly ships in the skies over a port and casually pew-pew things on the ground like a fairground duck hunt, where the odds aren't rigged. However, this week, Hutton can semi-exclusively, well, okay, not exclusively at all, but just work with us here, reveal that a secret pact between the Pilots Federation and Tharg the Mighty's mighty BGS minions have determined that instead of throwing all Haxwing's work in the bin if they don't put in a full 100%, they'll graciously accept that we ought, and Tharg should plant a smaller flag, maybe 33% smaller, with a slightly weaker pole, meaning that Tharg is actually encouraging anti-zero pilots to come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. And look, I'll tie one arm behind my back if you want. What the master or mistress or what's the other version of that? Anyway, the plan is nobody knows, but we're sure that the Pilots Federation and Tharg are in cahoots and probably send each other nice Christmas cards and spawn birthday Christmas gifts every year and don't tell us about it. For all we know, there isn't an actual war. This is a board game at the moment, Tharg's Australia and South America. He's got the right colour of meeple, and of course his loaded dice are rolling a natural 20 every time, but he's tantalising humanity by leaving and opening at every opportunity. Probably as he likes deep frozen peoplesicle from those ejected escape pods, and fancied a snack.
After 27 weeks, Too Hot, Too Messy, the Hutton-led initiative to deliver a Hutton mug and Megagin with which to fill it to all the stations in the galaxy, has passed 53,000 deliveries. Last week was yet another lean week, with average deliveries below 1,500 for 9 weeks in a row. 3 new commanders joined the effort this week, taking the number to 280 participants, still representing 91 squadrons. Welcome to the challenge. Hutton has the largest contingent, with 74 pilots who have delivered almost 24,000 mugs and gin, which noticeably is less than half the total. So thanks go to all the other squadrons taking part. The Winged Hussars are still in second with over 2,500 muggings, but they are being caught by the Buckyball Racing Club. In third, only 200 behind, with over 2,300 deliveries. The Paladins are still fourth, the Undead are fifth, and the Burr Pit are the sixth squadron to have collectively delivered more than 1,000 Hutton mugs and Centauri Megagin. Commander Chix is still leading the deliveries table with over 5,700 mugs delivered. Some say that his fleet carrier is running low on mugs. Waller 81 is second, having broken the 5,000 mark, ahead of Nemb in third with almost 3,600. Shay Blackwood has moved into fourth with over 2,200, ahead of Infinite Dreamer in fifth with almost 1,900. Reese Lang became the newest member of the 1,000 Club, the membership of which now numbers 9. Of course, we know all this because it is tracked by the marvel that is the Hutton Helper and updated live on the Too Hot, Too Messy event page at hot.forthemug.com/hot_mess_2. Also, the Helper is now fully updated and supports both full-fat Thargoid and Tharglite versions of the game. So however you play, your Hutton Rare's contribution will be recognised automatically. Apart from the mere glory alone, there is an additional incentive in the form of a chance to win a real-world, Velcro-free, mods-preventing Hutton mug. Any commander that delivers 10 mugs and gin in the coming week will be entered into next week's draw to win a real Hutton mug. Unless, of course, you already have one, in which case you'll have already been immunised against mods. 25 lucky commanders have accomplished this so far, including last week's winner Nemb. And you can see a little golden mug next to their names in the top commanders table. Keep listening for this week's winner to be announced in the banter bit after the news. If you had delivered 10 mugs and gin a week in every week since the start, 6 months ago, you'd have racked up 270 deliveries next to your commander's name. Only 42 commanders have. If you haven't, why not give it a try? In order to join in the fun, you'll need to sign up by downloading the Hutton Helper from hot.forthemug.com/download. And then your mug and gin deliveries will be automatically registered for you by Antarius's artificially intelligent, multi-flavoured, gluten-free bionic hamsters.
Just a slight correction on that last article. Last week's winner was Shay Blackwood. I think the week before was left in the script.
Seamless.
Seamless. Anyway, terrible news this week. Well, not as terrible as it could be, but it was listed under quite bad in the Hutton Ops room call sheet for the week. Somewhere above infrastructure failure and below full Thargoid invasion when Hutton Orbital Radio went off the air. Yes, that's right, your daily dose of music, adverts and silliness broadcast from this very orbital went silent. In fact, it didn't just go silent, it was replaced by the sound of a 3D hologram pirate skull rotating in space and the occasional "Yah!" A splinter faction of the Code, we have no proof of this, but we're sure it was them, and the dastardly Don Antonacci, yes it was him, broke into our transmitter room and proceeded to make large with unobtainium baseball bat and angle grinder on all the servers. then the off-site backup servers, which were stored in the room next door, the Hutton cloud server, just above the asbestos tile ceiling, and of course the printed backup copy, which was in a wicker basket in the corner. Commander Simon was activated from his suspended animation and looked in horror at the carnage. 8 years of programming, of careful curation, of building a DJ box, of extraordinary eccentricity, and it was all up in smoke, smashed to pieces, and generally turned into a lot of jumbled ones and zeros with no guide as to how to glue it together again. Of course, his eye was directed at the Hutton Orbital Backup Good Operation and Balls Up Limiting Implementation Nest, or Hobgoblin, team in charge of data security. He brought the emergency transmitter online almost immediately and loaded in a playlist from back in the day, including such oldies as Stations on Fire and the Hutton Widows advert to everyone's big sigh of relief. It appears that the pirates managed to get away with Edelweiss's entire back catalogue of Celine Dion and Morrissey records. Security teams have set out an APB for anyone with an eye patch and wooden leg intermittently crying and shouting, "Hang the DJ!"
Good evening, travelers. Atrus5060 reporting in with this week's update on the Thargoid War. Had a good week defending humanity, but it seems when we have a good week, the Thargoids still come ahead. But hope is not lost, truckers, for we will continue to fight and show Tharg that the mug is mightier than the caustic messiah. Victories were reported across multiple maelstroms, with Haxwing joining up with the AXI, oh I love them, Operation Ida, and the Post-Disaster Evacuation Service, I think they go by PDES, on their tour of the Tyrannus, Indra, and Haddad maelstrom. Thargoid invasions were pushed back in Abisu, Cephi Sector YZ-YB4, Wheel, HIP 29596, my favorite of the HIPs, HIP 20491, Aoicha, who writes these things, HIP 26688, Pathamon, and Putus, which I'm pretty sure is a dirty word in Spanish for a whale's vagina. A Thargoid alert was even pushed back in Thenosidi, which is the first alert system we've successfully defended in some time. On the evening of the 4th of February 3309, Haxwing successfully launched the Hutton Orbital Truckers Undertaking Battle and Extraction Services Initiative, or more easily recognized as Operation Hot Pubes. 15 truckers and biscuiteers of EDS 38 joined up in the battle of the Thargoids above the planetary base of Hadamar's Inheritance in HIP 26688. I don't know really what he's inheriting, the place is a disaster now. Where many a scout and interceptor were blown up, including many fearsome hydras. Combat pilots cleared the skies to allow evac pilots a chance to land and take off safely with civilians on board as they made their way to the rescue ship in Tarak Tor. Our efforts led to a quick victory over Tharg and HIP 26688, protecting Ramtah's base over in Mean from being invaded by the bugs. In the aftermath of the battle, pieces of Hydra were collected from the planet's surface and transported to Hutton Orbital for studies by hack scientists. Maybe one or two of those, so interesting. A remarkable discovery was made when an oozy substance found outside of Cubicle 3 crawled into the lab and attempted to eat the Hydra hull samples, but wasn't instantly dissolved from the caustic material. In fact, it formed a hard material that we at Hax Command have forced into the first ever Haxwing mug. Now, because so many commanders did extraordinary feats during this operation, it was only fair to draw names from a beaker on who would earn such an incredible piece of drinkware. For their participation in the Battle of Hadamar's Inheritance and the first Hot Pubes operation, I, Atrus5060, as Haxwing Coordinator, grant Haxwing mugs to Commanders Happy Moon Monkey, Azraphale, and Little Grey. Bring from it proudly, Commanders, and continue to defend both the mug and humanity. In recognition for their impressive kill count and being the new leader on the career Thargoid kills leaderboard, Commander Mills Stonebard of EDS 38 has also earned a Haxwing mug. I salute you for your defeat and am proud to have Hutton fly along EDS 38 any day of the week. Keep an eye out for additional communications from Haxwing on how you can earn your Haxwing mug, truckers. Haxwing would also like to commend the following commanders for last week's effort in the Thargoid War. For their impressive combat skills, Commander Zed Stormbringer, Oplurker 1005, and Val Silvana respectively killed 601, 243, and 192 Thargoids. For their humanitarian efforts in evacuating civilians, Commanders Afro Thaz, Miat 11, and Captain MD have earned recognition by Transport 4193, 1249, and 761 civilians respectively. Haxwing is in your debt and hopes to see your continued support in this ongoing war against the Thargoid. I've been rambling for quite a bit now here, truckers, and I think I'm dying, so let's cut to the chase. Haxwing, your orders this week to defend Hez-Ur near the Kokijo Maelstrom. Details can be found in the Haxwing briefing that was sent out this morning. Combat and evac pilots are needed, and more importantly, we need haulers to bring in emergency supplies. Good luck out there, truckers, and see you on the front. For the mug, Jesus, I'm dying.
Well, I have to say that was the worst Atrus impersonation we've had yet. It was a notable week in Hutton space as we have moved into quite a special system of particular interest to Hutton runners. Only 4 systems are getting themselves noticed for the wrong reasons. You know where is nowhere to be found, and there's still no sign of a new war in Havoc. More on those stories coming up. Russ671 has maintained its grip at the bottom spot for a 3rd week and has managed to lose 3 points, leaving it on 33. A third of the system influence is tied up in another war which should end at the weekend, so get in there then and boost Hutton. Gaining a point in the week to leave it on 35 is notoriously slow to move Epsilon Indy. Boost Hutton influence in Alvin's most popular system. 40% of influence in Nerences is tied up in a civil war for 2nd and 3rd place, which started yesterday. By this time next week, we should see how this leaves Hutton's influence, currently on 36. 4th and last of this week's delinquents is Stein 2051. Yet another election is tying up a third of the influence, so whilst things aren't desperate, it's worth keeping an eye on this system early next week to give it a boost when the election concludes. Despite the Hutton early warning system, Treppin has fallen into an election, with player faction, the CIA, which is currently tied at 1-1. Run election missions in Treppin before we lose control of the system. Well done to the commanders who made an absurd profit by shipping in medical supplies into Bonkers in Wolf 25 last week. As per normal standards, half of them weren't fit for purpose and have been stockpiled, so that they don't make anyone's accounting look bad. The infrastructure failure in WISE 0855-0714 was relieved quickly. Alvin congratulates those who made the schlep to Yamazaki and its medium pad. There will be no mention of Barnard's star this week, as it's sitting pretty on 42. Oh, wait. At the overachieving end of the Hutton systems table, we have 3 systems above 60% after the Haghole burst. The big BGS news this week is that Snuggles has finally got his very late Christmas present as Hutton expanded into 36 off Yuki. So all we have to do now is get in there and take full control. With the election starting today, and we'll soon have the second longest supercruise in the galaxy. It's only 4.2 million light seconds. Priorities this week are, if you want to truck something, boost Ross671 and Epsilon Indy, win the election in 36 off Yuki in order to stay in the system, win the election in Treppin in order to not lose control of the system, and ship medical supplies into LP525-39 to relieve the outbreak.
Next, we have a message which we've received from Caboose. The Nexus Initiative's founding carrier, the Gary Hogan, has departed the bubble for the last time. This week, the inspiration and namesake of the carrier passed away. leaving behind a legacy of explorers and pioneers. Gary Hogan was a high school chemistry teacher, pastor, newscaster for radio channel WBBM News in the late 20th century, and a mentor and astronomer until his passing in February 2023. His grandson is the co-founder of the Nexus Initiative and commander of the fleet carriers Gary Hogan and Legacy of Dawn. The carrier that bears his name departed for the Vale Nebula, setting down at Vale West Sector DL-Y D68 as its final resting place. Here it will continue to provide a safe haven, refuel, repair and cartography services for both veteran explorers and new explorers just setting out of the bubble.
Well, that news went on so long we ran out of the music behind it.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
And it's a 19-minute track, so that's quite impressive.
Whoa. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's good. So,
I think it's because my piece is too long, but you know.
Yeah,
I
I bet
really
you said
like
that to all the
fake
girls.
Atrus.
yeah,
It's just
I really like fake Atrus.
yeah. That's
Yes.
for those who aren't sure, that
Did a
was
good job.
Atrus5060 stuntman tonight.
I've hid the real
Also
one in
known
a
as
cupboard somewhere.
Atrus5060.
Also known as actual yes,
We
5060
think
actual.
we think it might actually be one of the bionic hamsters that's escaped, but we're not certain.
We don't talk about that, all right? The real one's locked in a cupboard for safekeeping.
He likes his cupboard.
So,
He
who
keeps it
saw
quiet when he gets the
the...
hose.
So who saw the Frontier live stream?
I only
Not
listened
me.
to it.
Me.
I was
I saw
playing-
most of it.
Oh, listen to that. Lithobreaker's done his homework.
No,
Well, you're gonna have
I
to
wasn't
tell us
listening. I was just
everything about it.
watching.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No,
I
Chix
was
is the
playing Beat
expert.
Saber and listening.
Yeah, I know, but you wouldn't have heard any of that because my mic was muted. But
Aha.
yeah, Frontier live stream number 25 with Brucenarf.
Indeed.
Brucenarf, yes.
Just enough.
Brucenarf. So what I was doing in the background there while I was muted was I was trying to see if we have any Twitch drops tonight. And I
No, we don't seem to.
can't see them.
Yeah.
Despite them saying on the live stream that the Elite Partner Program partners, obviously if you watch their streams, you can pick up some paint jobs. One thing they mention on that program as well is they will be expanding it very soon. So I think that's like 500, 600 applications. And I don't think they're going to roll it out to all of those, but I think they've chosen a selection.
That's good.
That was my interpretation of what they said. They didn't really give any detail at all. So I've probably said 5 times as much as they did. Winter PJs are still vogue on the live stream. Some nice ones. There's a Python ice and a Cobra ice, which will go nicely with the Anaconda and the
Yeah,
S.
they're kind of a bit gorgeous, aren't they, these?
Nice blue, that, isn't it?
Do we have a photo?
Oh,
Yep, they're on
yeah,
screen now.
it's just coming up now.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
Look at those.
Fancy.
Very pretty.
And you only needed to watch the
Half an hour?
Well, 15 minutes actually.
Was it 15 minutes? Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very quick. I like the Python. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's almost like not snowflakes, but snow blobs. Or is that hail?
Oh,
Hail
the
Python.
yeah.
All hail the Python.
I always kind of think there's one thing I don't need. It's another Python paint job, and then you see a paint job on a Python.
You think, oh, I'm
it's
having that.
bloody good.
And you think, I'm going to fly my Python again for a while just so I can use that.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I
Cobra's
whipped
the
out
same.
my Python the other day, and I
Did ya?
noticed, it still had the Halloween paint job on it. I can't remember.
Right.
Not getting much use now, is it?
And then the officer knocked on your window and told you to put it away, yeah?
Yeah.
I think it might be the one I won on the live stream, like 4 live streams ago or something.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, look at that. Now you know when big film stars and or theatre stars go and do a play, or when rock stars, turn up at a gig venue and they have a thing called a rider.
Oh, yeah.
Well, apparently Arf has got quite a stiff rider because he.
Pardon?
What has he done?
He asked.
And who did he do it to?
I think this is an old sort of I can't remember which band it was, but it's an old rock music joke where somebody asks for a bowl of a popular sugar coated chocolate.
They're not L and L's. Put it that way.
They're not L and L's, no. And apparently they didn't want any blue ones in there. Well,
they
asked entirely for a bowl of blue ones, and. Have you got the screen grab?
Oh, look at that!
Managed to get. He's holding what really looks like he's a bowl full of small blue performance enhancers.
Yes.
Is the best thing I can describe that. Anyway, he was popping.
Well, he is recently married, isn't he?
Oh, well, he probably need the whole bowl full then.
Yeah.
But not if it's already a stiff rider.
Yes.
Only if it lasts longer than 4 hours, he needs a doctor.
With that many, it's pretty much bound to.
Could poke someone's eye out with that many.
Can somebody? Are they bots in the?
Can someone moderate Twitch?
Kill the bots in Twitch, please.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I can.
And in best sort of radio station style, Bruce grabbed a big handful, shoved them in his face just before he started to speak, and he's like, and I'm thinking, Bruce, you were brought up better, you were drugged up better than that. Yeah.
No, don't say he was drugged up when he's just taken a big handful of blue pills.
Yeah, and if he didn't swallow them quickly enough, he'd end up
on Twitch.
Yeah, kill him.
Oh dear. If he doesn't swallow them quickly enough, he'll end up with a stiff neck.
Yeah, there was a robbery at the factory where they make those things down in the Pfizer factory, and police are on the lookout for a gang of hardened criminals.
Yay!
No, badumtish. Standards are.
Yeah,
we've upped our standards, so up yours too. So they talked a little bit. It's obviously the first live stream since the 14.02 mini update last Monday, last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Most of it wasn't of great interest to me because it was mostly concerning Tharg stuff. But we did say in last week's show that we think the graphics look better. They've done something's happened. It does look really good at the moment. They did acknowledge that fleet carrier jumps, some people have been experiencing I think I saw a post maybe on Discord the other day that somebody's carrier took like 40 minutes to do a jump. And they are aware of it, but they say they don't think it's busy servers as it was, when fleet carriers first came out and everyone was struggling because they were all trying to jump at the same time. So they're looking into it. They are aware, they're looking into it. So don't fret if your fleet carrier takes longer than 15 minutes to jump. And then people have been getting all creative with Lego. And there's somebody, he's basically built the entire station interior in its entirety, and all the bits you can walk around.
They're absolutely amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, you can see the first picture on screen. You see the bar in the corner there. Then you can see next to it the sort of little shop where you can buy a new ship. There's the bar.
It's very cool.
And they've got the lighting in there and everything. It's characters. There's a great shot zoomed in. Oh, somebody's made a chieftain, which was particularly
for some reason that was he made him very happy.
Yeah, it is a nice little model, that though. Oh, that's the spinny thing that we normally have a screensaver. The
holographic ship display.
I'm not sure the chieftain made him that happy. That might have been the performance enhancers.
Just one question. Are we sure that these are made in Lego, or are they just the much better graphics that people are talking about?
I'm pretty well. I can. Who knows these days? They seem to be able to fake more or less anything, like even an Atrus5060.
That's Minecraft mode.
Yeah, they are good, aren't they?
They really are.
And even probably not even more creative, but equally creative. Somebody has created a Raspberry Pi Elite control panel for their cockpit.
What?
Yeah,
Yep.
It's got buttons and lights and switches and all kinds of stuff.
Look at that.
I can see it on the screen now, and that runs off a Raspberry Pi alongside somebody's rig. That's isn't it?
The Raspberry Pi, of course,
It's got more
co-founded
buttons
by
than mine.
a certain David Braben.
David Braben, yeah, he was one of the co-founders. Yeah.
I was expecting to see an actual Raspberry Pi.
Oh,
Well, you could.
It's just behind the screen in the top section.
I'm hungry now.
Well, the rares are on later. Who knows what you'll be tucking into?
look at all those real life ones and switches. I just want
That's
to
pretty nice.
press them all and
Yeah.
flip them all, and
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yes. So there's lots of it was a funny Super Cruise. A funny live stream because it was pretty light on news and it was pretty light on features. There were no interviews with developers. They're all busy working on update 15. So there was an awful lot of sort of community submitted stuff. There's a chap over on Reddit, and I'm just going to copy the link into Twitch chat so you can go and look at his creations. But he produces blueprints, and apparently this chap is an architect or somebody who does drawing for their day job, and has produced all these marvelous blueprints of this one. The particular one is DBX. And he's also turned them into a whole book. They were describing book's probably the best word, that he sent in, and they thought it was so good. They were like, well, we're not just going to shove this on stream. We're going to do something with this, So they're kicking around ideas what they ought to do with all these marvelous blueprints. And if anybody says ship interiors, they can leave the stream.
Well, he has actually done an interior for a ship.
Yeah, it's done every deck. They were sort of flicking through, and some of the pictures. And one of the ones I saw was sort of A, B, and C deck on a DBX. I thought, oh, wow, there's a lot of time gone into that because you've obviously got to think of it in 3 dimensions, and not everything is a single deck height. But yeah,
they've done cutaways and all that kind of thing. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And they also showed, I don't have a picture of it, but the winged hussars, the winged hussars of, I think it's Root Rats who does it. It might be Root Rats and others, but Root Rats sent it in. It's an Elite Dangerous 3309 calendar with some very nice sort of glossy, really professionally done glossy calendar, which looked great. I don't know if they're available. Can't remember if they made mention of them being available, but I know David Braben has one and the community team have one.
That would be nice.
Because we met Root Rats at LaveCon, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, when they were heckling the Hutton radio show as going for silver was on at the time. The last thing there is Constance Flux. Constance Flux, a trucker. I've certainly seen the name doing the.
I've seen them name a few times. Yeah.
I've seen them doing Too Hot Too Messy. I'm not, but Constance Flux
I think they've Hutton runs and possibly been on.
Yes,
I seem to remember they've been in the Hutton Helper results at some point.
That's right. Well, they had a stellar screenshot published, sort of looked like somebody doing a bit of exo bio while they were having a sneaky peek at the not settlements but a station, the ones that have the large sort of triangular tower in the middle of them. the enormous sort of city-like ones, the circular ones. One of those in the
Oh,
background.
yeah,
It was pretty good. It was, and they were sort of fossicking amongst as I've forgotten the commander's name, who we used to feature a lot. His fossicking word, not the pretender, the Flossy, you'll remember.
Sorry, what was that? I was doing something else.
The guy who went to the western edge of the galaxy, he was fossicking around in amongst some space loofers and caught the picture.
Can't remember.
Lastly, the high wake, you'll probably remember from previous times we've shown it, but the high wake has produced another one of his sort of cartoony videos. That tells the story, and it features Arissa. And I think I just saw Litho posting that.
It's just gone into chat.
The Twitch chat. So make a note of that, and you can watch it when
we finish.
No, I mean you can.
You can watch that when I'm on.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Anyway, it was short and sweet. It didn't run the full 2 hours, but. Or maybe it did, but I switched off at that point. My guests arrived. So, very good.
Good pleasure.
Yeah,
not as good as ours, obviously, but...
It was different with not having a large chunk of it with sort of developer chat as they've been recently.
Yeah.
But it was still good. Still lots of community-created stuff in there.
Yeah, they said they were leaving the devs to actually get on with,
developing
Update 15, and they thought that probably the community would prefer it that way. I guess they're probably right.
I don't know. I don't think some of the community, when I use the word community loosely, would there's any way to please them.
No, you're probably right there.
The ones that toil away in the salt mines every day.
Yes. Never enough. Never enough.
Never enough.
So,
I'm never right.
Do we have a drum roll?
We do. Is it time for a drum roll?
Well,
I guess it is.
Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about? Well, shall we?
No, happy for a drum roll.
Let's roll some drums.
This week's mug winner is Talkie Mouse. That's Talkie, as in the town in Devon.
Herds of wildebeest sweeping across that Talkie.
Yes, mouse as in smaller than a rat.
Faulty Towers Talkie.
It's not a rat, it's a hamster.
It's Siberian hamster.
He's Siberian hamster.
Basil the hamster. Anyway, the mug winner is Torquay Mouse.
So, Talkie Mouse, if you would like to get in touch, and where should they get in touch? Anyone? Anybody know?
I took part at huttonorbital.com.
Yeah.
With some sort of proof of who they are, a screenshot or something with their name on.
Blood sample, DNA.
Yeah.
Credit card details.
Oh, yes, especially that.
A note from their mum. I've sent a message in Hutton Helper to them as well, so that is actually me. That's not a scam.
That depends.
So,
were you asking for details or credit cards?
So what is the word of the day?
Always. Word of the day is latibulate.
Latibulate. And what does it mean?
It means to hide in a corner.
Ah,
I'll give you an example in a sentence if you like.
Okay.
Even though Vantian latibulated, Gusto the Clown still found him.
It sounds like a bowel movement.
It does sound a bit... There's something rude about it. There is
Definitely is, yeah.
Which is why I chose it.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a good word.
It is a good word. It's a slightly rude sounding word, but it's not a rude word. So, I'm enjoying it immensely. Anyway, now that we've got that done, there's only one more thing left to do before we introduce Flossy with this week's CG News. It is my question of the week. What do you call an anteater who's been thrown out of a nightclub?
Drunk?
Jeff.
Fred.
A barbed fart.
Aardvark!
Aardvark!
Aardvark.
Aardvark!
Aardvark.
Aardvark!
And now we have Flossy with the CG News.
It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. And the community goes.
Hello, Flossy here with this week's CG News. Last week's CG helped Kumo Council defend the California Nebula. Finished just short of Tier 5 this morning with over 819 billion credits earned. The top 75% of participants will receive a Pirate Faction green paint job for the ASP Scout. The top 50% of participants will also receive a Pirate Faction purple paint job for the Alliance Chieftain. And the top 25% of participants will also receive a Pirate Faction rose paint job for the Creative Phantom. There are no CGs this week, so that's it for this week. That's it, the CG News. Fucking piece of up. That's it for this week's CG
Flossy
News.
told you what to do.
Sorry about a slight delay there. We're having a debate about whether or not we have a Galnet News Digest this week.
Yes, we have.
Are you
Peter
sure that's not
posted
last
it.
week's?
No, Peter posted just on in our chat that he just put it up before
Oh,
8:30.
excellent. In that case, hopefully this will work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time to hand over to the two fat ladies of news, trundling around on a motorbike and sidecar, looking for the ingredients to make a lovely story. It's Beetlejuice and Wotherspoon with the Galnet News Digest.
Galnet News Digest, 11th of February 3309. We read the news, so you don't have to. In this week's news, the Kumo crew finds itself rejected by an ungrateful population. The Xeno peace movement refuses to die, while those who are fighting in the Thargoid War may find things a little easier than before.
The Kumo crew is claiming that its anti-Xeno operation in the California Nebula saved many lives, but it seems that the Alliance citizens that Pirate King Archon Delane said he was helping are happier living with Thargoids than being ruled by a pirate. The initiative certainly resulted in many Thargoids being slaughtered in the California Nebula, a region where humans and Thargoids have previously been able to coexist with relatively little friction. Those who assisted can claim their rewards from the Michelin megaship, which remains in the California Sector HR-W D1-28 system. However, none of the bases run by the Turner Research Group, and which the Kumo Council seized at the start of their anti-Xeno campaign, remain under Delane's control. Local militias who believe that the Kumo Council was using the anti-Xeno story as a pretext to expand in the nebula took matters into their own hands and took the bases back, with no help whatsoever from the Alliance Defence Force. The Alliance, which admitted that it had received an urgent call for assistance from the Turner Research Group, has expressed its mild concern at recent events in the California Nebula, and is thinking of setting up a committee to discuss how those three bases could have been taken so easily.
The Xeno peace movement isn't dead yet, and it's been pointing the finger at the superpowers and the corporations, claiming the Thargoid War is a massive setup designed to make arms manufacturers unbelievably wealthy. Blaming the superpowers for almost anything is fairly easy, as, with good reason, is accusing companies like Azimuth Biotech of profiting from its own incendiary actions. Timothy Culver, who used to be a spokesperson for the Thargoid Advocacy Project, claimed that the superpowers knew the Proteus wave would backfire, and that they intended to provoke a war with the aliens. The blood, he said, of billions is on the money-grabbing hands of corporate shareholders. There has been some public disorder by those who believe these conspiracy theories, and there are reports of break-ins and attempts to find written evidence to back up these theories. However, the superpowers all claim that matters are well in hand and that the protests are by a small number of anti-establishment agitators. A rather better organised protest against the Thargoid War is taking place at the wrecked Kingfisher Peace megaship in the Hyades Sector YO-Q B5-1 system. Until the 11th of February, several megaships are paying 10 times the galactic average for escape pods and black boxes recovered from the stricken megaship. Their possibly forlorn hope is that the Kingfisher may be repairable to shine on as a beacon of reconciliation in the face of the all-consuming conflict. If you'd like to help out, don't forget your hatchbreaker, repair and collect Olympic controllers, and be wary of any Thargoids who might misunderstand your motives. The fleet carriers YKE Drimo and YKE Asteria are in the area to buy what you can recover from the wreck.
It's not all sweetness and light with the alien hordes. Commanders fighting to prevent the expansion of Thargoid control on the southern fringe of human-occupied space have been given an unexpected helping hand. Where previously Thursdays were a huge reset button, with systems that were 99% saved from the Thargoid invasion suddenly turning out to be not saved at all, and everyone having to start again from scratch, now just 1/3 of the total effort required to repel the Thargoids is lost. So, for example, if humanity has got halfway to recovering the system, on Thursday, 1/3 of the total effort required will be lost. That's 50% minus 33%, which leaves 17% progress already achieved at the start of the next week, making it just that little bit easier to ease the Thargoids out before they take total control. This also affects Thargoid control systems. If we get 2/3 of the way to driving the Thargoids out of a system they control by Thursday, then 1/3 of the progress will be lost and we'll still be 1/3 of the way to eliminating from that system in the following week. It's still going to be a lot less effort to finish the job in a single week, but at least now any progress above 33% will mean that there's some benefit carried forward to the following week.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news so you don't have to.
And now it's over to the one fat bastard of results, like a beach ball with fingers, and making us all want to latibulate. It's me, Harkness, with the Hutton Helper results.
Welcome to the Hutton Helper Results. The Hutton Helper Results are sponsored by the Hutton Helper, the only third-party resource to come with a packet of food cartridges and a menu. This week we have the following events. The Just Dinners Don't Deliver Out Here Cup. The Does a 1-ton canister count as a single Munchie Box tournament. The Happy Holler Pizza Delivery Deja Vu Trophy. The Who Ate the Last Chip Charity Shield, the I Will Fight to the Death to Defend My Pakoras Spectacular, and the Pick Up Orders Only Award. So, fork and knife at the ready, drink your milk on standby in case it's spicy, and try not to get the womble crumb. The Hutton Helper results are little circle, big square thing with a circle in it, dot, star, black circle, white circle, jumped 44,000 light years to come first in distance travel again this week. Fish 2193 sold 46,000 tons of cargo. Groove Champion is top mission runner with 253 mission points. And just to be different, Alex Zuno has handed in 777,777,777 credits for the bounties. Attic 2 handed in 3.1 billion credits of combat bonds. And Groove Champion also delivered 3,812 people to their various destinations. So, decals for small circle, big square thing with a circle in it, dot, star, black circle, white circle. I wish I knew how to pronounce that. Miet11, again, please tell us, just make contact. And Groove Champion. Please email itookpart@huttonorbital.com and arrange to collect your Hutton decal kit, which this week consists of Jamie Oliver's How to Cook When You Have a Massive Tongue cookbook, a pot noodle, and Harry Balzac's address for when you need proper fancy food. There have been 7 Hutton runs in the last 7 days. The top 5 are: Eat Lots Glue, do not eat lots of glue. Eat Lots Glue, 1 hour 23 minutes 30 seconds. Core Badger, 1 hour 23 minutes 45 seconds. Nevis, 1 hour 24 minutes and 22 seconds. Norbert Patinod, 1 hour 24 minutes and 26 seconds. And Silas Scratcher Resi, 1 hour 24 minutes and 29 seconds. There is a whole galaxy of stuff out there needing desalinated, sugared, defrosted, exploded, launched, rung in, decked with boughs of holly, motivated, evacuated, unfriended, ejected, manhandled or woman-handled, smeared, deflected, kept warm in the oven, emphasised, sniff, snuffled, flip-flop, mistranslated to and from Spanish, chilled, mugged, ginned, wrapped up with a pretty bow, shipped, shot, rescued, having their immersion ruined, battered and deep-fried, prepared, destroyed, bought, sold, squeezed, inflated, bumped, frozen, liquidated, evaporated, smelled, licked, discombobulated, recombobulated, headbutted, rubbed, compressed, enveloped, strained, fermented, murderised with an S, interrobanged, litibulated, upcycled, violently downcycled, disallowed, reallowed after VAR, spelted, loved, adored, cherished and probinated. And you can earn yourself a very fetching Hutton decal for doing it. To get involved, you just have to go to hot.forthemug.com and download or sign up for the spectacular Hutton Helper, available in 3 scintillating formats. Let's face it, anything has to be better than missing second breakfast. Anyway, that's it for this week. Back to Studio 5.
Thank you, Mia. Now over to Aemelia for the Galnet Rares Digest.
Good evening. This is Aemelia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest. We try all the galaxy's rarest and most dangerous commodities, so you don't have to. Never let it be said that the Galnet Rares Digest steers away from controversial commodities. After all, we've tried some of the least ethically sourced things in the galaxy. We've seen creatures hunted and exploited, native flora and fauna changed beyond recognition by science, eaten things that we really should be saving, and generally explored and examined the ongoing exploitation of the natural universe by humanity. Sometimes, though, the rares are about humanity exploiting each other. Oh, okay, yes, I know that there was that one rare that I'm pretty sure used the secretions of a whole station's population to sell to the public at exorbitant prices. But this one seems to be aimed at the terminally gullible. Whether that's the people who sell the items, who are undoubtedly rich as a result, or those who buy them. Well, that remains to be seen. In terms of gullible, there are 2 locations in the galaxy that are infamous for convincing people to travel awfully long ways. First, of course, there's Hutton Orbital, which at 0.22 light-years away from the jump point over in Alpha Centauri is a heck of a long way to go for anything. But Hutton, despite not having a shipyard, or selling limpets, or having a large docking pad, it has at least 2 interesting rares. There are no free anacondas. Trust me on this one, I've tried. I've been told there are 100 credits, but I refer you to my previous statement about people being easily taken in. Second to Hutton, though, and far less well known, is Katzenstein Dock in 36 Ophiuchi. At only 0.14 light-years from the arrival point, it's comfortably half the travel time that Hutton is, with no sneaky second suns in the way with big gravity wells. And it also has a rare, Ophiuchi Xeno artifacts. What makes 36 Ophiuchi more interesting than Alpha Centauri is that the 3rd star, despite being a long way away, has 2 water worlds orbiting it. And it's on both of these water worlds that the artifacts can be found. Or so the marketing tells me. Both planets are regularly ravaged by huge storms, and, as water worlds, only have very small atolls of land dotted across the globes. Volcanic in nature and subject to some brutal weathering, these atolls are the site of some truly spectacular natural stone sculptures. The volcanism on the water worlds throws and thrusts molten rock up through the oceans, which as it cools, twists, turns and writhes as the sea boils. It doesn't do this in huge explosions, or in the kind of massive eruption that creates places like Hawaii. It does it through tiny cracks in the crust of the planet, letting the molten rock seep up in slender columns. When the towers reach the surface of the ocean, they continue to grow, and the violent windstorms warp the cooling rock into astonishing shapes. Looking at pictures of the tectonic plate margins of the planet, they are quite literally littered with what can only be described as modern abstract art. Stonemasons and artists could quite literally cry at the sight of natural stone formations that make their own handiwork look frankly shabby. The Ophiuchians have turned these natural formations into a thriving market for art buyers. And as the planets are naturally active and likely to be for a really long time, it's just a case of grab rock, sell rock, profit. It's just about the only place in the galaxy that still uses Moray starboats, most of which are battered and patched, and, well, I'm not surprised. Harvesting Ophiuchi Xeno artifacts is a dangerous pastime. If the water doesn't get you, the storms will. If the wind doesn't smash you into a cool-looking bit of rock, the cool-looking bits of rock will quite literally jump out of the water and spear your ship. Then the wind will get you. And then the water. And probably when you've sunk far enough, the rock will get you. Or the pressure. That said, they've got an endless supply of them. Fly down, grab a rock, fly to the station, stick it in an art auction, invite some very rich and incredibly gullible imperial types who want to adorn their summer palace, or a federal multi-gazillionaire who wants one in the foyer of their new corporate headquarters, and, well, walk off with enough cash to buy yourself a spaceship. The local government limits the supply, mainly so they can get the starboats repaired between sessions, partly because they're drunk from the profits, and of course, so they can appear to be rare things. But I've seen warehouses full of these natural sculptures. Oh, did I mention most of them look very rude? I mean, I don't have to paint you a picture, but the vast majority of them look like someone's undercarriage had an accident with an electric whisk. Anyway, this is Aemelia Hawke reporting for the Galnet News Digest, and I've just seen a pop star part with a 5-figure sum for a bit of rock that to all intents and purposes looks like a wiener.
Thank you, Aemelia. As always, that was a
You're
very
welcome.
insightful and penetrating piece of reporting that you did there.
Penetrating. Can wiener be our next word of the week?
Word of the wiener.
Exactly.
Or wiener of the week.
Wiener of the week.
I'm sure there's a wiener-like word in that book somewhere. I'm going to have a look. I've actually taken it into work. Everybody's picking a word of the day now.
Can you litibilate a wiener?
I have a morbid dread of wieners. I fear the worst.
Oh my God. I was wondering when he was going to get it.
Do you want me to go back and read the advert joke again?
Did you see Volcarius's aardvark joke in the Twitch chat?
I did not. Let me see this. But the chat's all gone tiny. I don't know what to do. Oh, okay.
It's quite a way up.
Volcaris, don't encourage him.
Where is it? I saw somebody saying I should be litipulated, but...
What do you call an anti... Sorry, go on, Flossy.
Which finally stopped sitting around. A standard bark.
Oh, for God's sake.
I mean, it's bad.
That's next week's joke written.
It's definitely aardvark worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's bad enough to be bad.
I've just been told I need to be litipulated.
Well, make sure you wipe it clean when you've done it.
What you lated?
Yeah.
Litipulated.
Ah, yes. To litipulate.
See? Word of the week.
Word of the week. We've used it so many times.
We've used it a few times already. We even got a previous word of the weekend there with wombo cropped.
We didn't use
Several
titty
times.
nope, though.
No, well, yeah.
Thank
We need to squeeze a little titty nope in there.
Yeah, you can't use titty nope a lot. You can only have a little titty nope of titty nope.
True.
I'm not sure we really need the titty nopes when we had that many willies in the rares, though. So
Yes, that would have been the ideal place to slip in a titty nope.
yes.
Shall we have a big alarm?
Yeah, I think we've run out of other things to do. So
Oh yeah.
I think we've had some very big alarms already.
Let's turn the volume down on my headset.
yeah. So for anybody that doesn't know what's coming next, and we do have some first
Time for the
timers in
big
here.
horn.
Yeah, it's time to take your headphones off, or at least turn the volume way, way down.
Or go into another room.
For the mug!
Can't say we didn't warn you.
Monologue!
For the mug!
Don't say you weren't warned.
No journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading up the T-9s to the brim with grain. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug. Flossy always seems to crash into the sun. Swivel likes the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin at the front, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody yell. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. years to go. Cruising to Hutton, whoa, whoa, whoa. No journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud like you don't even care. Father Berg, yeah, you know just where I'm coming from. Father Berg, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. Father Berg, yeah, you know just where I'm coming from. Father Berg, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the show. Everyone's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger off too? Seamless.